Hä? Kannst du sagen, wenn ich loslasse? Hä? Ist gut? Okay. Well, okay. Good evening, everybody. So how about we just start with short meditation or just like arriving kind of thing? Yeah. So we will do what we did last time, like we check the posture so that you get used of these points. The main point is that you sit comfortably. I mean, that's the most important thing. So that even if you're sitting on a bench or in a chair, that you have your feet down so that there is this kind of a right angle. And wait, can you throw me that pillow? Because I'm sitting a bit too high. So that you put under your feet so that it makes a right angle. You sit comfortably. Otherwise you have your legs crossed. Your hands are in your lap. The left hand is supporting the right hand. Or if that feels more comfortable, just have them on your knees like this. Elbows a little bit extended from the body so that the air can travel through. Back is straight. Head is slightly inclined forward. Tongue is on your palate. And the eyes are either very, very lightly closed or just slightly open, whatever feels more comfortable. And then we do this body scan that you start at your feet. You become aware of the sensations, the body sensations as you're breathing in. And as you're breathing out, you imagine that you are relaxing, opening up, letting go, becoming very wide and very open with each out breath. That's so important, that you learn to relax, or that you see that you're not relaxed when you start your meditation. Then you do the area of your buttocks, genitals, lower back, abdomen. Same thing. Breathing in, you're fully there. You experience the sensations in your body. As you breathe out, you open up, become wide. Then the chest and upper back. Whatever tension you feel there, just notice them. Don't kind of, the letting go means like go. It's not. You just let them be. You're aware of them. And you use your breath to open up, to become wide. Wide and open in the sense whatever is there is okay. But fully aware of what is there. Then your shoulders, make sure that they're not pulled up. Then you move down your arms to your hands, where there most probably you can feel something that we are usually not aware of, but is there the whole day, a tingling. Definitely some sensations, whatever it is, again, it's totally okay. Then you go back up, you do your neck and your throat. Then you pay special attention to your face, where we hold lots of tensions. They're not big, but we pull the muscles together, the jaws, the cheeks, around the eyes, behind the eyes and the front. Yeah, just come in. Now some people are coming in, it's none of your concern. You can remain with your face and with your body sensations. It's absolutely not a problem. It's not these people who came in that distracted you, it is your mind that wants to know everything that's going on and doesn't have the ability to stay with itself. Okay, so then we have the body more or less right. Also check if the spine is straight but relaxed, not tense. And then check the state of your mind, like you would be asking a friend, how are you? And here, same thing, no need to change anything. Just notice, is the mind happy, unhappy, or neither? And then, as one does at the beginning of every spiritual practice or whatever work you do, actually it's quite good, is to really check your motivation. And this is entirely up to you. So you could have been coming here for your own benefit, or even just out of curiosity. Or maybe you've heard that Buddhism has something to offer that helps you to lead a happier life. And it's quite good to kind of to detect that yearning that we have to be free, to be spacious, to be peaceful, to be good, basically, to be sane, to be sober. To be happy. Or we could say, maybe I'm here to discover my goodness, my own good heart, so that I can live it. I can live that potential that we all have to be kind, compassionate, and wise. Not to control others, but in order to benefit them. Or we could use a motivation from the Dalai Lama who says, we're visitors on this planet. So maybe for 80, 90, maybe 100 years we're here. So it's quite a long time, so it's good if we see some sense, some reason why we're here. And then he says during that time, if we're able to benefit others as well, not just ourselves, then life becomes quite meaningful. So So it's up to you what kind of motivation you want to generate before we start the talk. Because even though somebody says this one is the best, you have to check out, you have to examine for yourself. What is it that I really want? Okay, thank you. So you will hear that again and again and again, like at the beginning, like, you know, set a motivation, whatever motivation seems right for you, and then at the beginning, at the end, then we'll dedicate. So it's kind of putting our our mind into the right direction. What do I really want? So last week we talked about Four Noble Truths, right? And then I asked you to maybe during this week to check whatever you're doing, check why. Why am I doing this? Did anybody have time to do that? Yeah, I do the same thing in Bern every 2 weeks when we do Bodhicharya. Sometimes even I forget what homework they had, so don't take it so seriously. If you forgot it, it's okay. Yeah. But it was kind of to discover we're constantly trying to avoid something. Not so much we want to get something, it's more that we want to avoid something. We want to avoid being cold or being too hot or being too hungry or being too tired or, this and that. And so yoga, especially the things that are, you need discipline and all this, you do it in order to avoid what? Well, suffering of body or suffering of mind. And then if we look sometimes how much time our body needs, that if we wouldn't have a body, if we would just have a mind, then most of the time we would be on holiday. I mean, why are you going to work unless you have a really, really interesting job? Most of the people go to work to earn the money to buy clothes, food, health insurance, a house. Yeah. So, so like that. So most of the things, actually, most of our energy goes into the body. Also, we talk a lot in the West about resilience of the body. Like to kind of build up some immune system or something like that. Maybe we talked about this already last time. Can't remember. But then about resilience of the mind, that when you get hurt, when things don't go the way you want them to go, when you discover you have cancer or AIDS or you lost your job, that kind of resilience that can bounce back despite of difficult circumstances around you. We don't really talk about this so much. Yeah. Now it's coming with the mindfulness movement. Slowly, also the word kind of mental resilience is picking up on importance, and then you can ask a lot of money for these courses again, and a lot of money is being made, which is a shame also. But anyway, better they do things like this than teach people how to kill and how to murder and how to cheat and all these kind of things. Okay, so but did anybody do it? Did anybody check when you open the fridge to get out some food, even though you're not really that hungry? Why am I doing this? What am I looking for? What am I searching? And then we can see we want to be happier. Yeah, even though in Switzerland you ask people in the street with a microphone, are you happy? Most of them would say yes, but then you could be happier. Everybody would say yes, you know. And I came back and I was 56, and I had to phone up for a health insurance. So she asked me, are you healthy? I said, what do you mean healthy? I'm 56, I don't hear in one ear, like I have pains in the joint sometimes. I can't remember what else. And she said, yeah, but are you healthy? I said, well, do you call this healthy? I mean, it's like, what do you call healthy? So we both started to laugh. You can't ask somebody, are you healthy? If they say yes, they're lying. Because something is always going on in the body that is more or less kind of, again, it's the same thing. We could always be healthier. So if the health insurance asks you that question, are you healthy? Then ask them to define it. When they say no aches and pains, then you have to say, no, sorry, I do have aches and pains. If I walk too long, even if you're young, if you walk too long, if you lie too long, if you sit too long, then also for a short while you have aches and pains. It's not that I discovered aches and pains only at 60, you know. You also have muscle aches if you do too much, so like that. Okay, so the Four Noble Truths, like that our life is great, but it's still it could be much better, and there's still a lot of dissatisfactory stuff that if we wouldn't choose it, or maybe just think about your past week. If you could rewind the whole thing until last Monday, and then you could start again. There are certain things that if you could choose that you wouldn't choose that you had during this week. Do you see what I mean? That you would say, oh, now if I could choose not to have it, now I wouldn't have it. Is there something like that in the week? If again you say no, then I don't believe you. I tell you the truth. What do you think? Is there some moments of mind maybe? I spend time with friends who are absolutely not Buddhist and are 100% not interested in Buddhism, and I had moments of feeling, what am I doing here? Kind of the conversations, and then I had to really open up and like, oh hey, you spent so much time with them when you were young, and they like you, I love them for what they are, but we just went different directions, and it doesn't mean that they become like, they're only criticizing others all the time. I listened, and I didn't really try to change their mind, because I discovered whatever I try to say that comes from Anglo Buddhism is, it just makes it worse. So we spent really quite a good time, but I had these moments of feeling superior, or feeling better, or feeling, I am interested in more meaningful things than you. I thought, oh, yeah. Arrogance. Huh? That counts. That counts, yeah. This is, I mean, when you start, I've been practicing for so many years, when you start watching what's going on in your mind, and it comes automatically almost, sometimes you go like, oh, but it's good to see, even though it's not pleasant. And nobody, is like counts. Nobody's making points up there somewhere. The Buddha is your mind who realizes it, and it becomes a habit. This is the thing, becomes a habit. They probably think I'm totally off the wall also. They probably feel superior that they are interested in nice clothes and keeping shape and eating this and that food and, getting all hype up about good food and all this. So like that. So yeah, and also they do eat meat. So, I mean, I'm not going there and saying, hey, while I'm here, you're not allowed to eat meat. It's like, they're my friends. So like that. So this is what I had moments where, I would have liked to have a bit more interesting conversations or watching TV, but I survived. Yeah. And it was nice. It was nice to see the kids and all that. Anybody else would have you said yes? You would have had maybe moments like that you wouldn't choose if we would have a choice. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, right. Overload sometimes that doesn't let us sleep, isn't it? And so we say instead of tossing around in bed, might as well go and do it. Yeah, exactly. But do you see what I'm talking about? That if we had a choice, we wouldn't choose such an existence. I definitely wouldn't choose an existence when I get old. I mean, it's like it's not. I mean, I'm not depressed because I'm getting older, but you don't have to be depressed. You can just say it's not a great thing. I used to do a lot of sports, and I can't. I can't even walk up the stairs without pain anymore. So like that. So you. Uh huh. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. 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 Yeah, well, I can understand why they complain. You know, their minds go in that direction, and that's all they see. So like that. Okay. So in Buddhism, maybe if you open your little book at page 20, you know, very often you know, what is Buddhism? What is a Buddhist? What defines Buddhist practice and all these? Maybe we need two more here. Can you just pass them on? And there's more in the corner there, I think. Okay. What defines Buddhism? So very often Buddhism is brought together in terms of compassion, good heart, non-violent, and all this, isn't it? Yeah, it's that one. It's still the same. We'll use the same booklet like for the rest of the time. So very often it's brought together with this, isn't it? But that could also be Christianity. I'm sorry, you know, when we look into religions. And I'm pretty sure other religions as well. And even atheism. I mean, there's a lot of people, that's their values. And that's what they, as much as possible, they try to do that, you know. So, but what defines Buddhism is like, it's more that one tries to go against these four wrong views. Or it's called four misconceptions, it's called here, it's at the bottom. Or to accept what is called the four seals. I know that this is not really in the program of this Buddhism in a nutshell, but for me it really clicked when I heard it for the first time, and it is important. And there's this very nice book from Tsongsa Khyentse Rinpoche, which is called What Makes You Not a Buddhist? Because many people think they're Buddhist, but they don't accept these seals or these facts. So one is all compounded phenomena are impermanent. I think we talked about impermanence last time already a little bit, that this is the first thing that you learn, that whatever comes together at one point falls apart. So it's not much, you know, there's nothing, it's been like this for 2,600 years. Whereas with science, oh, I love to say these things, with science, they change their opinion like all the time. Yeah. First, the Earth was flat, and then it was round. Maybe somebody else now comes and proves something different. And then there was atoms. Now there, you know, that was the smallest particle, and then now it was, I don't know, neurons, and now it's quarks. You know, I understand nothing of these things, so I better shut up now, because so that's what I mean. Is like that all compounded phenomena are impermanent. I mean, I think this is trustworthy. It's been like that. And when the Buddha says there is suffering, there is things that are not satisfactory, that's true. When the Buddha says karma, difficult to prove, but if he says negative emotions, wrong views, of course, yeah, that you can eliminate all this. That again this is some kind of trust. And then the path, definitely you have to, the path then is experience. You have to try it out. Don't just believe it. Yeah. But that all compounded phenomena are impermanent. Yeah. And we think we understand, isn't it? Compounded means zusammengesetzt. Alles, was zusammenkommt, okay? Compounded. So it means if it wouldn't be impermanent, if it wouldn't go out of existence at one point, it couldn't come together. Yeah. But then we get disappointed and we feel sad and all this. Because why? Because we're not in touch with reality. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go around and tell somebody who is grieving, somebody who has just died, oh, well, you know, everybody dies. What are you talking about, man? Do you see, we see all these people dying around you and you're making such a fuss about this one person. So don't. I mean, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. Even Buddha, I'm sure, cries sometimes. It's okay. Yeah. But to accept that fact, but we don't. Yeah, like marriage, for example. You know, this is why Buddhist monks and nuns, they don't go to the weddings. So please, it's starting now in the West that couples who want to get married, they ask monks and nuns to come and bless them. We have celibacy vows. Why are we going to go bless these people and say, well, you know, maybe it will hold, maybe it will not? Let's hope it, you know, be real, be realistic. Let's hope it's not going to happen too quickly that you fall apart again. I mean, I watched the wedding movie of this son. I mean, I don't know how many thousands of francs they spent on this wedding, and it was all tears and all happiness and all this. I said, oh gosh, I hope it holds, because if it doesn't, and you make such a big thing, and then you watch the movie where they promise each other, you're the love of my life. I don't want to make fun of them. It was very touching, but still, it's like so much illusion behind that. So this is why we're not supposed to go to weddings. Also, in order not to get jealous and think, oh, maybe I should get married. Maybe I should. Because you see them, they're so happy. Yeah? They're so happy the wedding day. I hope none of you is divorced and just now remembers, oh, when I got married, yeah. I was very happy now. Huh? They exist, Buddhist marriages? Yeah, of course. Not monks and nuns, but... yeah, okay. You mean and in the temple, like the blessing of not in the Tibetan tradition. I don't know the other traditions. I don't know Thailand and Korea. I don't know. But in the Tibetan tradition, this is not has nothing to do with the temple. This is like you get married. Why? Because of laws, basically. Anyway, so that one. All contaminated phenomena in the nature of suffering. That one is more easier, more difficult to understand. This is like the first noble truth. Whatever you do, it always turns sour somehow. So when they talk about contaminated phenomena, you could... Jörg, do you still have your question? Because I saw you...
Yeah, it wasn't exactly about compounded phenomena.
Okay, yeah.
Contaminated phenomena. Yeah. Is that something like everything?
No. There are impermanent phenomena, and there are a few phenomena who are permanent, not many. Uncompounded space is permanent. Permanent means not changing moment by moment by moment by moment by moment. So when I talk about space, I don't mean the air in the space, but uncompounded space means uncompounded space is here because I can put my cup into it. So the space doesn't go anywhere. Okay, that's also, it's difficult to understand. Somebody says, yeah, but the space is not there anymore, but it didn't go anywhere. Yeah, that is uncompounded, this uncompounded space. Emptiness, for example, is permanent, or an absence is permanent. So when they talk about phenomena, everything that exists is a phenomena. So they make categories, like I said, the Buddhists love lists. Yeah. So then you have permanent phenomena and you have impermanent phenomena. The impermanent phenomena are divided into three also. Yeah, it's like one is matter, one is mind, and one is uncompounded compositional factors. But we're not going there because otherwise, even after four evenings, you still don't know what the whole path, because I'm supposed to present you the whole path. But permanent phenomena, for example, is interesting. They see absence of elephant on this table is in existence. The absence of elephant exists. Okay? But the absence of elephant can be temporary, because I can put an elephant and then it becomes there's no more absence. But while it is there, it is permanent. It doesn't change moment by moment by moment by moment. See what I mean? That's when they call permanent phenomena. Compounded phenomena are impermanent. Yeah. Okay. Changing. Contaminated phenomena means, now this is more difficult, means this, I need something where I can say what it is by name. This spoon would be for me a contaminated phenomena. Contaminated not in the sense that the contamination comes from here, but the contamination comes from my mind, because I see this spoon in a dualistic way. My mind, separate, seeing a separate spoon. Okay? You need to hear this a few times. Yeah. That's why it's contaminated. I see it as permanent. For example, I don't see the changing of this spoon, moment by moment by moment by moment. I would see a gross impermanence when I see this spoon 100 years later. Yeah, like, if we would close up this room, nobody would touch it. Impermanence is inbuilt in these things. Even though nobody touches it, nobody uses it, still they change. Yeah, do you see what I mean? So the contamination of phenomena doesn't come from the phenomena itself, but it comes from my mind who adds something or takes something away. What I add here is inherent existence. I don't see spontaneously, instinctively, without having to think, that this spoon is a compounded phenomena. I don't see what is in it. I don't see the people who made it. I don't see the material that is made from, unless I'm a spoon maker. Yeah, do you see what I mean? I see it as a real spoon existing separate from my mind. Okay? So that's all contaminated phenomena are in the nature of suffering. In the nature of suffering, and there's a very good German word for this, nature, in the nature of suffering. It's not suffering, it's in the nature of suffering. It's not Leiden, everybody speaks German? Okay, so then it's not Leiden, but it's Leidhaft. It means that, when something, for example, an apple that is contaminated, maybe you don't see it yet. An apple that is contaminated through automatic atomic fallout, you don't see it, you don't smell it, you don't taste it, but it's contaminated. You eat it, turns into suffering. Okay? When it's contaminated, maybe you don't even see it, but it turns into suffering, deception, disappointment, and all these kind of things. So you see, we run after these things. We keep them up, we build them up, we try to get them so that we can be happy. So that's why. And he says, well, what's the point? And whatever we see, hear, touch, smell, taste, think, all of it is contaminated because we don't see the real existence of these things. For us, it appears in our mind, just like my face appears in the mirror. But the face in the mirror is not a real face, it is just a reflection. So whatever our mind picks up is just a reflection. And it depends on the state of the mind, what is being reflected. That's why we go, this I like, this I don't like, this is good, this is no good. But for other people, this is good and that is not good. Yeah. So basically, I heard this from Tsongsa Khyentse Rinpoche right this morning. I thought, such a good example. When you have a mirror, and on one side is this beautiful vegetable dish here, a reflection of the mirror, and here you have a heap of shit. Which would you choose? It's the image in the mirror, okay? You would make such a big fuss about it because both of them are just an illusion. Both of them are just a reflection. So the mistake that we're making, we think that the dish of the vegetables is real and the shit is not real. We'll come to that, though, in what way we have to see these things. So so this dualistic thinking. So this is what a Buddhist tries to go beyond, this dualistic view, that everything that exists separate from my mind. Things come into existence through causes and conditions. Yeah? The parts and particles, a name that we're giving them, and a mind that labels that phenomena. And this is how phenomena exist, merely labeled. And that would be the right view, but we don't have it. So then there's no separate self. Also, that's very Buddhist in the Four Seals. Yeah, when we accept that there is no separate self, meaning there is no real I somewhere hidden in here, separate from the body and the mind. There's no real spoon hidden in this thing. I can't take it apart, so that's why I can't do it. But maybe we'll do it when we talk about the view. We'll talk about more the fourth evening. We'll talk more about the view, what exactly they mean. And then only nirvana is peace. That's the fourth seal. So we talked about nirvana before you other guys came in a little bit. What does it mean, nirvana? Being free from negative emotions and karma, like karmic imprints. Okay? Being free from suffering and the causes of suffering. That is what is called nirvana. So that is the goal. Yeah. Okay? So, but then us ordinary beings, as opposed to an enlightened or an awakened being, has what comes below here, which is called the four misconceptions. We see things that are by nature impermanent as permanent. Is that true or not? We see them like this. Here's not do we, here, how do they appear to us? Does this spoon appear to me as impermanent? Absolutely not. Not even the flowers, who then sometimes we see them changing. But again, we don't see them changing moment by moment. We see them when they start like this and when they stink and, all this. You came here last week, you come here 1 week later, you think you're still the same person, the same I, the same me. Otherwise, you would, when I said, you came in and you said, oh, hi, Fabio, and you were quite happy that I remembered your name. And, isn't it? And I was very happy that I did also. Maybe happier than you were. But, you didn't say, oh, no, I'm not Fabio. I'm not the same Fabio anymore. It's the same Fabio. We think we've changed, but this I that, the body has changed, the mind has changed. But I, the feeling of I, and that is a thing of observation. This you really have to observe. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you think, am I still the same person? Not am I still, is the feeling of I is still the same. And again, somebody, when you look at your kindergarten, especially my age, kindergarten photographs, the whole group, and then people look at it and say, oh, are you here somewhere? And you say, yeah, this is me. This is what we say. This is me. We don't say, this was me. Because the feeling of I, really, and this is going to be your homework. This is so interesting to see. Yeah, I know. I've been, with my old friends where I left like almost 40 years ago. And I had this feeling of nostalgia and a little bit pulling and wow, the nice time we had and da-da-da and this. And it's the same I who feels this. Yeah? Huh? Yeah, it's not just the memory. It's this me, I, who has to pull. The memory is like, oh, come on, it's gone. So you have another life, different life now, so it's okay. So this is very, very difficult to detect. This is what is called the object of negation. This is the key thing. This is the key point. That thing that we are so habituated to have, that we are grasping in it for real, doesn't exist. That's frightening. Doesn't mean you don't have an I, so I'll tell you that also. Yeah, we have a conventional I, just a name we give to this body and this mind, but no third real thing, no third entity that we call real I. That's, if it would be easy, when you understand it here and you say, then we would be able to let go of all attachments and all aversions and all problems and all this and that. But the habit of holding it as true and real is so strong since beginningless time that it also takes time to undo it. And knowing it intellectually doesn't help that much, Even when you say there's no I and somebody say, oh, he's such an idiot, Still, how dare they? Yeah. And we're not calmly saying, yeah, I didn't understand. It's okay. If you think I'm an idiot, but I didn't understand. Totally not hurt and just realistically saying, yeah, I'm an idiot. I don't understand. Yeah, please explain. Please explain again. But there's something in here that doesn't like to be an idiot. It's not here because the idiot is here. It's up here, isn't it? That's how we think with this part of the body. But what feels hurt is here. So it's this I, this me, this kind of thing. Yeah, and especially, the self-cherishing is very big. You talked about meat eating last time. It's like this also, we don't see the suffering of the animal. I need my meat, so therefore, and then, the bigger the self-cherishing, the less we see the suffering of others that we are actually causing by our behavior. Now, I'm not saying you can behave in a way that nobody gets hurt. As an ordinary being, as opposed to Buddha, we cannot. Yeah. Okay, so we see things that are by nature impermanent as permanent. That's why we grasp onto them. When you see a rainbow, everybody seems to like rainbows. Although we all know, as very rational people, rainbows come about when the conditions are there, isn't it? Dark sky, stops raining, still maybe drizzling a bit, the sun is shining. And then everybody, not everybody, many people, you see the exaggeration. I told you last time, I think I told you, I used to lie, now I just exaggerate. So not everybody, but many people are actually looking for rainbows because it seems to make them happy, you know. You know? Yeah. If rainbows appear in the blue sky and there's no rain and no dark sky, then you can go like, oh, something big is happening here. But if they just appear like, you know. So anyway, so we see them, and we even pointed out to people we don't know. You know, we say, oh, look, there's a rainbow. I assure you, if I would see a rainbow and they say, oh, there's a rainbow over there, everybody would come and look, isn't it? So then, if I think that the rainbow is permanent, with rainbows we understand it's just an illusion. Yeah, so we understand, we enjoy it, but we don't grasp at it. But if I think it's real, then I might go, hey, no, you're not looking, it's mine, I saw it first. This is what we do with seats on the train. I sat here first, and then I go, oh, I was here yesterday. You know, I mean, this argument, I've been here before, sat here before, is like, it's so stupid. You know? It's totally stupid. So, and did you buy the seat? No. But if people appear very tired and very aggressive, don't come with these arguments. Now you're laughing, but they don't think it's funny, you know. And also when it starts, so everybody enjoys the rainbow, we share it. Nobody goes like, last time I saw a rainbow, it was nicer. The red was below the black. We leave it as it is. We enjoy it as it is. We don't want to possess it because we know we can't. We don't change it because, you know, that's the way it is. I can't make it more beautiful. And also when it fades away, nobody goes, oh, it's gone. It made me so happy. What am I going to do now? How am I going to live without rainbows? Oh, my God. We won't. So all phenomena are like rainbows. We enjoy them when they're there, and when they're gone, they're gone. If we could, we would have such a nice life. You know, if things outside would give us what we think they should give us, I mean, Switzerland, everybody would be totally over the moon with happiness, isn't it? Switzerland, compared to other countries, is like. But even people who come from very poor countries and they come here, you know, first they go like, wow, and even if they have the money to enjoy everything, they go, wow, and then they live here 1-2 years, they get stressed and unhappy and critical and you know, grumpy like all the other Swiss people. And then they say, well, I can say because I'm Swiss, okay? If I would be a foreigner, then I wouldn't be allowed to say these things. But then, if you know, then what they do, they blame it on the weather. Oh, well, yeah, I'm not happy here because there's not as much sun as in my country. Yeah, on the neighbor or on the other people, or like this. We never blame it on our mind. We always blame it outside. It's always like pointing outside. Buddhism is like blaming the mind, but blaming not in a negative sense, but really looking for the answers in your mind, seeing the causes for the suffering in the mind, not outside. Outside, yeah, I'm not saying outside is not existing as, you know, painful and not painful, but it's just conditions. That's not the cause. The cause for happiness is in our own mind, and the main cause is these wrong views here. Seeing things that are by nature impure as pure. So that goes with somehow all contaminated phenomena in the nature of suffering. Yeah, but also they talk about of this one, that my own body is pure. This is why we're not kind of, you know, we can look at it in the mirror and sometimes even be like, wow, I have such a nice body. Yeah. As you get older and fatter, then, you know, I put on so much weight here and yeah, it seems not to look nice. Then I try to console myself by saying, well, you know, if I have all this fat here now, when I die, they need less energy to burn the body because there's fat. So, because I don't have enough discipline. I don't have enough discipline to eat less. So, and I love it when people tell me, well, you know, your age, you're 70 now, is like, diets don't work anymore. So, good thing. I don't need to go on the diet. But I could be depressed about it, isn't it? But what's the point? It still makes it even more. It doesn't make it more or less. It just, it's no point being depressed. But this is, again, it's the thing. I used to be in the South Pacific for quite a while. If you're thin there, or even in India also, you're poor. There's nothing good with being thin. It means you don't have enough money for food. So, and there, when you see people who are really big in the South Pacific, they carry their body with such dignity and such grace and such elegance. So it's just a cultural thing. The body should be slim and all these kind of things. But also the body is impure. I mean, I've been quickly when I went, because I wanted to buy a bun or something. So I went into the Manor. So the first floor of just the smell is like, the first floor of each department store is the repair store. Repair for what? Just remember, each Globus, Jelmolia, what's on the first floor at the entrance when you come in? What is it? Cosmetics. Each department store is cosmetics to repair or to cover the impurity of the body. And then we have an illusion that the body is pure. Now, being impure doesn't mean you have to throw it away. Yeah. But again, you see, because we see it as pure, when we see a body part, just a part of the body, we go, ah! Yeah? So how can the body be pure that when we just see a part of it, that we go, ah! If you go out now, you see a hand lying there. You go, ah! You see a dog caca being there because you never saw it as pure. You just avoided it, and that's it. It doesn't even move you. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? Again, this whole thing about the body, especially here in the West. But it's good to take care of your body. And please, now again, don't go to the extremes. Buddhism is the middle way. So take care of your body, but in order to do your work, because the body is the vessel for the mind, in order to do your work to have a healthy body, because it's easier to work with the mind when the body is healthy than when it is sick. That's all. And the body then for the use of others, and you can do your job and all this. And the fourth misconception is seeing a separate, independent self in things and in persons. Yeah, that there is a real spoon in here that I can find somewhere. I can't find the spoon. Even I break it down to the smallest atom. There's not one atom in here that you can say, this is the spoon. Wherever you point, a spoon is not a good example. Wherever you point is not the spoon. It's just part of spoon. And part of spoon, is not spoon. It is part of spoon. So where's the spoon? Because if you take away the parts, what is left? What is left if you take away the parts of a car, of a spoon? Huh? What is left? Nothing. Emptiness. Yeah, no. Lack of spoon. Exactly. That's the right way to say. So this is what this is what Buddhists are trying to, from these four misconceptions, to go to these four seals, to accept them and to see them as true. Or to see them, to try to work to see them. And for that, you use, sometimes, there's a path, there's different ways of understanding this. So, for example, not so much in this tradition, more in the Kagyu tradition, Nyingma tradition, they have these steps. We'll come into the Lamrim afterwards so that we see also their steps. But there's, for example, the view. So first you hear it, that nothing exists in and of itself. So first you have to understand what that means, or you have to study what exactly do they mean by that. So it's not a total non-existence, but it's also not a total real existence. It's an inherent existence. And sometimes it's easier to get to that through interdependence, that things are depending on each other. For something to exist, it needs causes and conditions. Okay? Things exist, yes, but not inherently, not independently. They exist depending on many other things. So this is what what Buddhism basically has to offer you. That whatever we see is just appearance. It's not the real thing. So what we do when we see the face in the mirror, when we see that there's a spot on the face, we go like this. We try to clean the mirror. the face in the mirror. We try to fix the outside world instead of fixing the mind. So you would never do this. You look in the mirror and you see that there's a spot here. You would not. You go like this. You don't go like this. Although you don't see it here, you see it there. But you have the right view that the face in the mirror exists. Face in the mirror exists, but it's not a real face. It's just an appearance. So all phenomena to us just appear. And when you have problems and, your boss or your colleagues or whatever are a real pain in the neck, then you think they're just appearing like this. They're just like me, just wanting to be happy, by the way. This really helps. Also, if they had the choice, they wouldn't be such an idiot, such a pain in the neck. They have the habit of behaving like this. Poor guys. But not again, like, poor guys, I'm much better than them. Not like this. But just to feel the connection between us and to see that all of us, we are all suffering. Now, of course, if that person, again, I would have to say so many things to that. Because now you might get the impression, okay, Buddhism, you're not criticizing anybody, you're not doing anything, you're not reacting when somebody's doing something wrong. No, it's not like this either. But you're not reacting out of anger or aversion or because I want this boss to be different. You're reacting because what this person is doing maybe is not right, is not just, and all these kind of things. But if possible, not with anger, because then, again, with anger, we exaggerate. We talk about this a bit more next time, about what the filters that these negative emotions create. Okay, so when you have understood, or when you hear about the view again and again and again and again, that nothing exists from its own side, then is the practice. So the practice means to be able to understand that you need a lot of things. And then we come into the Lamrim, the steps to go towards that direct understanding of emptiness. Because you have the two wings that you use. It's compassion. Compassion, the definition of compassion. How would you define compassion? Mitgefühl. I see his face. You think that's how compassion looks? Can you make the face again? That's how it looks. The camera didn't see you, so we went a bit like. I don't know if that's compassion. That is more like Mitleid. We have in German we have two words. We have Mitgefühl, feeling with, and we have suffering with. So Mitleid, suffering with, we don't want. But feeling with, empathy, kind of knowing what's going on with the person, and especially if you had the same kind of suffering, then you have a lot of empathy. Problem with that is, because of our ego and our, what is called mirror neurons, when somebody tells you about their suffering, I don't know why, somehow it reminds me of my own suffering or my own stories or my friends who have the same suffering. And then there's this urge having to tell the other person what's happening with me or with them. So we get stuck in our own suffering when we listen to somebody else. Yeah? Have you ever noticed that when you tell somebody your story, all of a sudden they come with theirs? I had a broken wrist and I had this kind of manchette here thing. I've never heard so many stories about people's broken bones. Now that is off, I don't hear anymore. Funny, yeah? So compassion means, it's very simple, the definition, wanting yourself, or somebody else to be free from suffering. And in Buddhist terms, not just suffering of pain, but also suffering of change and the suffering for pervasive suffering and the causes for suffering, meaning wrong views, negative emotions, and karma. Okay, that is compassion. And for some beings, we have very universal compassion, meaning if you are in, was ist immer das, wie gibt es das immer noch? Malbisgürtli, Schützenfest, oder wie, Knabenschüss, oder wie heißt es? This one, this festival, there's lots of people, and maybe you happen to be there because you forgot to get off the tram here. And then you see a small child lost in the crowd, it's like, and it cries. So immediately you reach out, you're not going, oof, I wonder if I should bother. I wonder, or if the child has fallen down or whatever, you try to catch it. You know, oh, is it a refugee? Is it a Swiss child? Is it a alcoholic? You know, yeah. As people grow older, we start to, ooh, I don't want to get involved in this. Yeah, we start to think, but this, or use a small bird, a small cat, a small whatever, something that is not threatening. We have we have this. It's natural. This seeing suffering and reaching out. Yeah, mother or father, very, very um, biologically almost present, like the wish for their children only, to be free from suffering. But it's good that we have that. So I don't have children, but I can see parents have that. There's absolutely no wish for these children to suffer, even if they do like really negative things. Yeah. And so that's what one is talking about. Now, what one is doing in Buddhism, this wish to be others, to be free from suffering, you expand it, not just my children, but to everybody else, because of these logic views of, lifetime since beginningless times. We have had contact with everybody. Everybody has been my mother, father, brother, sister, enemy, murderer, rapist, whatever. So one concentrates on the good things that people do for us, and then one wants to be of benefit to them. Big things when this comes, when everybody has been your mom. Poof. But it really changes your attitude towards the beings. After my dad has died, because I was very attached to my father. It was terrible when he died, because my hero had died. When I was in India, he was in Switzerland, so I wasn't even here. And oof, I cried for at least a month and a half, I think, every day, a few hours. Which was okay. Which was okay. But I had to shut myself away from others because everybody wanted to help me to stop crying. And I got really angry because I thought, my father died. I feel pain. Let me cry, for Christ's sake. Yes, I'm a nun and I'm a Buddhist, and usually I'm quite together. Now I'm not good for anything. So I went off into retreat so I could live that pain of having lost somebody that I was very, very attached to. And I had hurt very much also because we both have the same very hard head. So, but different views. Him was money, and me was I don't know what. That's pleasure, I think. So anyway, um, so then they had this fly who was kind of flying around. It was in Dharamsala in the little room during my retreat. The fly who kind of kept landing on my nose. And first I got really upset. Then I thought, what if it's my dad? That reincarnated as a fly. So I didn't start talking to that fly as if it's my dad, but I made sure that the fly can live a fly life and put it outside very carefully. You're not kind of talking to the ant. Hi, mommy, how are you? Oh, yeah, it's not like this. But you're careful about if you can help them not to die, then you're careful not to step on them and even take them out if you can take them out and all this. Yeah. So you see with this, love and compassion. Love is you're happy when others are happy, and compassion is you want them to be free from suffering, but not just one, two, or three persons, not the ones you like, not only the weak ones, not only the animals, but also the ones who eat the animals. Okay, everybody. Not only the aggressors, but also the one who aggress. And I think this is the big difference between somebody who's realized and somebody like me, or maybe you, I don't know. I can only talk for myself. When I see aggressors, people being really unjust and really aggressive, I don't have compassion for them. Slowly, slowly it starts to come. But if a Buddha or if somebody is realized, they see the big picture. Yeah, like the person who is being aggressed has the karma to be aggressed. Now, I'm not saying then you say, okay, it's their karma, don't do anything. But the aggressor is creating the karma that it becomes the victim again in the future. So then one tries to be beneficial or helpful to both of them if one can, or at least the wish for them to get rid of these wrong views, harming others is a good thing or whatever, is, so there's no anger towards the aggressors, but the wish to help, the wish to be able to stop them, but out of compassion and not out of anger. Same way as a mother would like to stop her terrorist son to stop throwing bombs. Well, sometimes when I say these things in certain countries, then These people say, no, 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 the mothers are very proud. I doubt. I really doubt. And maybe they are, but it's none of my concern and I will never know. But I think every mother would rather have a son who has a happy life with a family and, who doesn't have to go and otherwise, then you can really talk about wrong views, how wrong views create the suffering. That one thing's being a terrorist is a good thing. But anyway, also, why are they like this? Is also the conditions. If we would have grown up under such conditions, who knows what we have. Again, I can talk for myself. When I was, maybe you still remember? Yeah, maybe it's just two of us. Yeah, the oldies here. When I was young, in '68, it was like I was 18, and my idols were the Bader-Meinhof group. Yeah. Huh? You don't know them? Well, okay. Well, in Germany, the ones who kidnapped this Schleier and the group, and I was very interested, and if somebody would have given me a gun, maybe I would have joined them. I don't know. No, I'm not joking. I thought that what they were doing was really good to get rid of all these old Nazis, and because they were, it was terrible injustice that old Nazis had all these high posts in Germany because it was difficult to find out who was a real Nazi and who was not, because once the war was finished, nobody was a Nazi. Everybody was forced. Everybody was forced, and many of them have been forced. And, if I would have been born then in Germany, I'm sure I wouldn't have had the guts to go against the Nazis. It's very easy to judge. It's very easy to, but then because why? Because we don't know the situation, how it is to live under such circumstances. So love and compassion very much is part of the path, but also the wisdom to see that even though suffering is just an illusion, or like an illusion, it still exists on a conventional level. So one of these things is also to really understand, when you listen to the Buddhist teachings, to really understand that there is, it's called the two truths, or the two levels of existence. I don't know, in your Discovering Buddhism group, have you been talking about the two truths? I'm pretty sure, yeah. So it's good to know which side one is coming from, because these two truths, they belong together. It's not that, okay, I just go into, it's called ultimate truth and conventional truth, okay? So then you say, okay, I just need to go into ultimate truth, I leave conventional truth aside. It's not possible, yeah? They are together. Like in ultimate truth would be things are empty of inherent existence. Conventional truths are, they exist as an interdependence. They do exist, but not inherently. Okay? So in ultimate truth, nothing exists. But that doesn't mean that in conventional truth that it doesn't exist. The face in the mirror exists. Okay? You can't say it doesn't exist. It exists as a reflection. You can't say, well, everything is empty. You can't say everything is empty, therefore, yeah, I'll just suffer, let them suffer, it's all empty anyway. Or when you hurt somebody with words, you say, well, what do you complain about? You don't have an eye. There is no eye. Go and look for your eye. You won't find it. So I haven't hurt you. You can't go like this. Then it will be called nihilism. Okay? So when you come from the ultimate side and you're looking from the ultimate side for this spoon, all you find is nothing. All you find is emptiness. All you find is no spoon, non-spoon. But when you come from the relative side, you find an interdependently existing spoon. Yeah, and it's only spoon now here. If I'm in Bern, is het een Löffel and not a spoon. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. So very often when we can't take these two things apart, you start to kind of try to explore ultimate truth with conventional truth methods, or conventional truth with ultimate truth methods. Then you find, nothing exists. Yeah. Okay. You know, when we say the I doesn't exist, then people go, but what does exist? This is what saying, well, the real spoon doesn't exist, and you go, what does exist? Nothing exists really in the spoon. What exists is a merely labeled spoon. It becomes spoon because you label it spoon. You go outside, it's een Löffel. So what is it? Spoon or Löffel? What is it? What is it? What is it? Spoon or Löffel? How can it be both? That's totally not logic that it can be both. If it's truly existing, it can only be one. So which one is truer? The spoon or the Löffel? Okay. So then it is not truly true, not really true, but relatively true. Very good. So it is neither. It is neither truly a spoon nor truly a Löffel. It is, as you say, depending on who is labeling it, who is seeing it, then it becomes what it is. Does the spoon or the Löffel come from this side? Does it come from that side? Objectively, Mr. Science. Objectively. Does the spoon come objectively from this side? From which side does the spoon come from? Is there something from here that says, hello, I'm a spoon? From where does the spoon come? From here or from here? From here, subjectively. So Buddhism actually negates objective existence. That for scientists, ooh la 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 la, this is a big thing. Yeah, this is a very big thing. So then you said, Jörg, but pain.
Yes, but pain. What about pain?
What do you mean pain?
Is pain?
It's an unpleasant feeling.
It's an unpleasant feeling.
Feelings exist.
They exist.
Yeah. They're impermanent. They have causes and conditions. They don't exist from their own side either. Pain arises when causes and conditions are there, and the mind perceives the pain. So there might be pain in, you see, the pain seems to be real, but if you are in a hospital and they put you to sleep because you need an operation, do you think pain is there in the knee when they cut it open? Big question, isn't it? Probably not, because no mind is experiencing it. So there is no pain. When you wake up, you think the pain has always been there, but it can.
Is a relative truth as well.
Yeah. Everything that we can see, touch, hear, everything we can talk about is relative truth. You know, when you talk, but every relative truth has the emptiness in it. This is why it can exist. If things would exist from their own side without causes and conditions, they could not exist. If that spoon would have always been a spoon, it's not possible then for this to be a spoon. But because it doesn't exist from its own side, it can exist. Okay? So emptiness is, don't separate, again, this is the thing when you separate these two. So this is pain, is that, and then the emptiness is where? It's also in the pain, that the pain is depending on causes and conditions, which is the body condition, the mind who perceives it. You label it good or bad, you know, masochist, he pays money for pain. So that also is not truly bad. Okay. So that I wanted to touch a bit on this, on the two truths, so that it's good that you know when you hear Buddhism, that you try to find out what is it. Is it ultimate level or is it conventional level, so that you're not falling into eternalism or nihilism. That's very important. And you need to hear it a few times, and we have to, although I am not a good teacher on these things, but it's not just my fault. It's also because it's very, very profound. And it's a big topic, this. And this is the key. If it would be easy to understand, we would all be out of samsara. Yeah, all be out of samsara. Science now is coming a little bit with, you know, this quantum physics and it depends on the one who's watching it and all this, and you can't find anything, just possibilities. It's no real thing. Same, you know, sound is interesting. What is a sound? It's waves. It only becomes a sound when it hits somebody's ears. It doesn't fly through the air as a sound when nobody perceives it. This is why I say nothing exists separate from our mind. Yeah, if nobody sees these, if there's no machine picking up these waves, then there's no wave, there's no sound. Yeah, this is the big question, isn't it? But is the wave still there when there's no machine? Buddhism would say no, because no mind is. Yeah, that's what science says. And the Buddhism wouldn't say that. If there's no mind, then there's no existence. It's a big thing, yeah? It's a really, really big thing. And actually, the lower schools, they say something you can perceive, that is ultimate truth with your senses. The other things that you can only perceive with your, like, through concepts, that is conventional truth. But then when you come to Madhyamika, then they go the other way. So Buddhism is really not an easy thing. Yeah. And you can use Buddhism, just the methods, to develop a good heart, that's fine. But if you think you want to practice Buddhism, why are you practicing Buddhism is to understand non-duality. What is the practice to understand it? Is to study and to meditate on emptiness with the support of love and compassion. And what's the result? What is the result? Yeah, nirvana or the two bodies of a Buddha, or kind of, the result is not getting something. The result is getting rid of something. That's another thing, in many of the other, we always want to get something. But here's getting rid of our wrong views, getting rid of that addition we do to existence, which is real existence, like what you say. But the waves exist without anybody perceiving it. That's real existence. But also the waves, I mean, you need something to make a wave. Otherwise, there is no wave. Very simple. If you want to sing, you need a song, a singer, and an action of singing. If the singer is missing, you have no song. If the song is missing, then there's also no song. Of course not. And if the action of singing is missing, also you have no song. But we can claim, notes on a piece of paper. We can say, this is a song. I mean, it's ridiculous. I have a friend of mine. She is 58 and she has dementia. She's been a nun. So she's been practicing this. And she says, this is so interesting what my mind is doing. Because she says, sometimes I'm looking at the watch and I only see black lines. And I have no idea what these are all about. So I wonder who is closer to reality. Me, who immediately says 8:15, or she who sees black lines? What is more real? 8:45? For the camera, 8:45? Or black lines? What is more realistic? Huh? What do you think? Yeah. But also they don't exist from their own side. 8:15 is something totally conceptual, totally labeled. There is nothing here. Here maybe makes more sense. There's nothing here that comes from that side who says 8:15. Nothing. Not one atom. But still my mind goes, tuck, 8:15. Yeah? Okay. Okay, so those are a little bit about the two truths. And So this is good to know at the beginning. So now I would like to start with what is called now the practice, or what is called the lamrim, right? It's like there is very, very a structured way in this tradition. I'm not saying there's no other traditions. I'm not saying that's the only thing that is right. You sit like in the corner, to turn around. But anyway, it's okay if you feel comfortable there. But next time, if you want, you can definitely sit there if you would like to. But for this time, it's fine. So, okay. So, the Four Noble Truths, at least the first two truths we understood. Life is not as satisfying as it could be. The causes are not out there, because otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here. You would be sitting in a class knowing about economics and politics and all these kind of things. Then you have to learn. When you think the causes, in order to have a happy world, are just out there, then you would not be sitting here. You'd be sitting in a class where you learn how to change the world, kind of basically how to make, with less energy, make more food and these kind of things, more money or whatever. So we got that. That we have wrong views, that we don't see reality as it is that also a little bit? That we are kind of stuck in our own views and opinions, that we are totally convinced that they are right. Yeah, I'm totally stuck in my view that, for example, if I have to go to vote and everything that the SVP is saying is wrong. Totally stuck. I don't even listen to what they say. Yeah? And I'm sure that the people SVP, they think I'm totally stuck in my wrong views. But whatever view we have, we think it's totally right. We don't, So we're stuck there. And then that's where conflicts arise. Okay, so do we see that somehow also? Do you want to change something? That's now the big question. Do you want to do something about it? Do you have, very important, which we people in the West are lacking, a trust in our Buddha, in our pure mind. The mind by itself is pure. It's covered with these wrong views who agitate the mind, who make it unclear. Like our mind is like a mirror, is smeared with dirt. Or, I don't know if they still have these mirror cabinets where you have these mirrors that go like this. Sometimes you're very fat, and then you're very tall. Or how many of you have been to India? Okay. Have you ever seen? Well, you're very slim anyway. Maybe Teres, you're a bit also, maybe sometimes few kilos too much. I always had 2 kilos too many my whole life. Now since about 2 years, I think I have 7 kilos too many. I was never happy. If I look at pictures now, I go, oh, wow, I was so slim here. But then also I had a feeling I was too fat. And still the habit is there. I can talk about it, I can say it, I understand it. The feeling inside is still like this. If you notice that the mirrors in India, one is more slim than here in Switzerland. You kind of, I love to see myself in the mirror. I had very little occasion because they're only in the hotels where you have these full-length mirrors. So sometimes I would go visit friends who were living in these hotels. I saw myself in the mirror. I was like, oh, wow, I'm really slim. I knew it was wrong. See, these are very, very good examples that we can see habits and that we want to see what we like to see, even if it's not true. Yeah? Even if it's not true. Things that are painful to hear, we don't want to hear them, even if they're true. So da hast du nie gemerkt. Ja, du bist vielleicht gar nie so Spiegel gehabt. I don't know how they do it, whether they do it on purpose or I don't know. Anyway, so how did we get to the mirror cabinets here? Can you remember? Okay, we're stuck in our wrong views. Yeah, so we're stuck in our wrong views. We hear that they're wrong. Still, habit is so strong that we cling to it. And so then the question is: do we believe that we are actually we could be without this dirt on that mind or on the mirror? For that, to increase that trust, it's good just to, when you have moments when you are totally open, when you have moments where you totally forget yourself, when you have moments where you are totally with the other person and you almost feel the pain of the other person, but not in an obsessive way, then try to maybe pull in a little bit, if you have enough mindfulness, to pull in and check the state of that mind. Or maybe you should shut off the camera. Just after an orgasm, this also is the moment when all the energy channels are open and you could die for this other person, no problem. Problem is then it closes up again. Then the person turns around, starts to snore. Then it's like, I want to sleep as well. Instead of, if that openness would remain, you would think, oh, wow, so nice, he sleeps so well, he'll be so rested tomorrow morning. If The openness is still there. But just maybe for those people who are still younger, and you don't have to go out now and look immediately for a partner. If you have a partner, and then just look, just a moment after the orgasm, the openness is like amazing. And that's the nature of the mind. Absolutely no limits. Absolutely no self-concern. Now, that we're not walking around with this openness now is quite good, because we don't have the wisdom yet how to live it. Because we would give everything away, and and that wouldn't be wise, because you also need wisdom to go with the whole thing. Yeah. Or maybe also the same as a mother. A mother gives things to her child which she thinks is beneficial for the child, not things that harm the child. Being compassionate, it doesn't mean that you let everybody do what they want to do. It doesn't mean you give them everything so that you are left with nothing. If it would be beneficial, and you had the wisdom, you would do it. There would be absolutely no problem. I mean, with the food, mothers and fathers can do it. Only one dessert. Who gets it? The kids. No suffering. No question. And they're happy when they see that the kids are eating it, isn't it? For those who have children, maybe remember these moments. Yeah, when you can make your children happy. Wow, you forget about your toothache or whatever you have. So sometimes I'm a bit jealous of people who have children, because I can see they have this just oneness with the kids. Yeah, my ego stops here. Yeah, at the skin. I'm finished. Whereas a mother or father's ego goes over the children. Just as important, even more important, their happiness than mine. So it's good. If you don't have your own children, look at parents who are not suffering too much when they abuse their children. I'm not talking about those. They are very unhappy people. They didn't have children to abuse them, but they're so confused and suffering and whatever. But normal parents, being able happily to give up on things, absolutely no problem. Wow, the hours and hours and hours. Just remember your parents spent with you playing these stupid games. Even letting you win, You never see them play these games alone when the kids are not around. So just that, and just thinking about these moments exactly opens up your heart, and there's a smile on your face, and we become very soft. So that is the nature of our mind, the softness, the openness, the willing. Forgiveness. You can say, Mommy, I hate you. It's okay. Your partner says that, out you go. Because there's much more love than attachment. I'm not saying you have only like pure love for your children, but there's less attachment to the children than to the husband or to the partner. Less expectations that they should give something back. Yeah, with partners, it's always a bit of a business. I invest. Whereas with the kids, we just want to give. You just want to give. I don't have children. Forgiveness also, yeah, like when they say, I hate you. It's not pleasant, of course not. But, huh? Yeah, it's okay. Okay, so we trust the nature of our mind. We trust that we can be without negative emotions. The Jung Institute doesn't trust that, because I gave a talk there, and I asked them, they asked me lots of questions. We talked about death and dying. So they asked me, and then I said, can I ask you a question? If one patient would come and ask you, can you help me to get rid of all anger, all depression, all attachment, all greed, all jealousy, all arrogance, what would you think? They will burst out laughing. They think it's not possible. It's like a doctor who says, I can only cure you to a certain point, then with the rest you have to live. But, again, psychoanalysis and psychotherapy can be very much combined with Buddhism. Yeah. To really see, wow, one can be totally without, but it's hard work, and the person has to do it themselves. So like that. There's a school in Israel which combines both. They had Jungians, psychoanalysis, and then they have twice a week, for 7 years, they have Buddhist classes, high philosophical Buddhist classes. It's very good. Okay, but what about you guys? Well, it's in beginner's, second evening. I already asked you, do you trust your Buddha nature? Do you trust your good heart? But look, I mean, again, ask yourself maybe during the week also, what can I lose if I start to believe that at the bottom I'm really, really good? I'm wise. I have natural wisdom. I have natural innate compassion, love, space, freedom, peace, everything inside. What can we lose if we start to believe it? Because then we start to look for it. Yeah. Okay. So if you believe that and you think, or I was just curious at the beginning. I thought, oh, what did it take? But I had time. I was in Asia. I didn't have to come back to Switzerland, so I stayed, and I just continued. So then the next step would be you have to see, okay, if I want to go towards that state, if I want to uncover that goodness and wisdom that I have, it's not an easy path, okay? You need to invest time, study, being in a group, discussing it, and it's not just one lifetime. I'm just telling you that at the beginning. Like the mindfulness courses, they tell you in one weekend you're rid of all fear and depression and all. This is a lie. I mean, this is total exaggeration. No, really. I mean, but it's good to go to mindfulness courses, but it's like you still have all the rest. It takes a long, long, long time. It's hard work. But I think it's really worthwhile because actually we don't have a choice. Because we have that wish for happiness and to be free and to be peaceful and to be spacious. We have it. So if you want to fulfill that wish, you need to go on a path to get it. Okay, so then you have to check, do I have what I need? So now we start. I have to finish today like 5 to 9 because I have to catch a train at 9:30. Pum, 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 pum. Where is the foundation of all good qualities? Because we start with that. Is it at the back somewhere? Yeah, it's page 32. Okay, so this is by Lama Tsongkhapa, and maybe just briefly, because I'm not very good at historical things also. Lama Tsongkhapa is a Tibetan scholar, and he was living like 13th century, somewhere around there, 1251 to 13, I can't remember exactly. And this text, or this, what is called Lamrim, is called the Graduated Path to Enlightenment. It actually, the root of this came from Lama Atisha, who again is a long story how he came to Tibet, and was a great scholar in India. And the Buddha gave 84,000 teachings. So can you imagine if you would have to study all of this? More than 4 evenings. Yeah. So what happened is that then people started to practice, and they also wrote their own commentaries on it. And then Lama Tisha, he actually put this into this step-by-step method, that it's good to start with this before you, for example, jump into emptiness. Emptiness, we only talked about this a little bit because it's so important that you're not falling into the trap, I'm not a compassionate person, I can't be a Buddhist, or something like this, Compassion, yes, very much present in Buddhism, but the main thing is this non-dualistic view. That is the main thing. And compassion supports it too, so that we get there. To the understanding. So I put it into this step-by-step thing, and then it's like, for example, if then there's different sizes of this text of the Lamrim. There's the Lamrim Chemo, which is called the Great, or the Great Lamrim. It's a very beautiful translation into English, but it's 3 volumes, like that thick, okay? But it's good. It's really, then you have all the details. Now, don't expect me to give you all the details in what time is left here. But we'll try. What I'm trying to give you actually is the structure of this path. Because it's good to know that the path, or the goals of this path, is divided into 3. Here, with the Lamrim. So it is like, first you practice certain things in order not to fall into a lower state. Okay, so that's the first practices. And what you practice there is like you're very happy about your precious human rebirth, you use it well, you think about impermanence and death, that it will not last forever, and you think about what comes next, karma. What determines where I'm going to be reborn? So if you're very careful of your actions, but again, this is not all of Buddhism, that is just at the beginning. You know, like as a Buddhist, if you're very realized, you can do all kind of things in behavior. Not us, but people are very realized. Like there's no, of course there's an ethical conduct also in Buddhism, but it changes. It changes on the levels. So there's no kind of, all Buddhists, I don't know, have painted fingernails, or all Buddhists have green socks, or, you know, it's not like that. It's very difficult to see whether a Buddhist is behaving rightly or wrongly. You need to know where this person stands. So who can judge? I can't. We can only judge for ourselves. Yeah, so this is why a complicated thing. This is why not so many Westerners, not so many people practice Buddhism, because it is so complicated. Yeah, different levels of realizations and different levels of practice on the path. So the lowest level of the ethical practice is very simple. Don't harm. Very simple. But sometimes, you know, you go higher than harm because it could be a benefit. It's no prefabricated thing here. And what it depends on, whether it becomes positive or negative, is your state of mind and your motivation. And because there is no omnipotent Buddha who is looking and then maybe is looking away while you are doing the naughty stuff, it can, you know, you can't say, oh, maybe he didn't see me. It's your mind who is creating the karma. It's your mind who is going to experience the karma, to get the karmic results. Okay, so the lowest level is that you practice, so not even for this life, but the results will come in this life already. So you don't need to have the motivation, I'm only doing it this for this life. Because if you only practice for this life, we talked about this, about ethical conduct. I think, ethical conduct is a very nice idea. As long as it's not expensive, and as long as it is not to our disadvantage. As long as we don't have to give up too many things. Comfort, you know, somebody else, again, with the climate, somebody else is a very compassionate person. He says, I want to go to Hamburg. I've never been to Hamburg. And he says, but I'm flying because I got back. I thought, okay, you know, see, this is, if it's too painful, then, okay. But it's only me going by plane, so it's very difficult to, if it's only for this life. But if you have a belief in a God, that, you know, there's something that continues after death, that there's heaven and hell and all these kind of things, I think it will make you be able to bear disadvantages now, hardships now. If you believe that, you know, whatever I create now, at one point it will come back, same thing. Your mind is much stronger, much more interested than if it's just for this life. What do you think? You know, as long as nobody wants my stuff, as long as I don't have to give up anything, as long as it's not too expensive, yes, I'm very ethical. Absolutely. Yeah. But when it comes down of having to pay so much that I can't, I don't know, I can't pay for my food anymore, I don't know if I would still be ethical. I don't know how strong I would be. But definitely the view of karma, for me, it helps. But don't forget, also karma is empty. Also, karma doesn't exist from its own side, okay? Also, karma is just an interdependent kind of phenomena. And if you don't understand emptiness, you don't understand karma. That's the other thing. So, okay. So the second level, then, first level is for next good life. And not just in order to have a good life, but because you want to continue with the practice. Because if you're born in Syria, you know, sitting and meditating and sending out love to everybody, I think difficult. It's already difficult in Switzerland, so it's like. So then the next level is, okay, I'm born in Switzerland, I have a good life, I was very ethical in past lives. We were, otherwise we wouldn't be here. Okay? We've been very, very good people in past lives. Otherwise we wouldn't be in the situation that we are now. So it's not enough, I want to get out of samsara. So then you start to work with especially your negative emotions. Yeah? And then the third level is not just for myself, but for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, so first is kind of give up your negative actions. Then, because your mind becomes more easy, yeah, like here in Switzerland, uh, give up or work with your negative emotions, because otherwise it's not possible to work with negative emotions. Your life is very difficult and very heavy, and some people attacking you all the time. Then at the end, give up all views. There is no view that is correct, because if you have a correct view, you need to have a view that is incorrect. And then again, it's dualistic. And that's so what's this right view thing? Yeah. I don't know, to be honest. So this is why, when you look at these the best scholars on emptiness, they have no view. They only destroy the view of everybody else. Because the moment they have a view, then you have to have a view that is wrong, because mine is right. And then again, you have dualistic thinking. Again, then you are in conventional reality. You see, like interdependence exists. Without non-existence, you have no existence. Without without false, you have there's nothing that is true. You need both. Easier. Without long, you don't have short. That we can see. Then we go, yeah. When we go like without non-existence, you don't have existence. You're like, huh? Without other, I have no I, no me. There you go. No, of course there's a me without other. But no, there is not. Same as there is no long without short. Certain things we understand, so it's good we take the things we understand and then we bring them to the others. Okay, so let's see, page 32. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and venerable Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Okay? So, yeah, this Guru thing is another, it's another hot iron, like because of the behavior, it's like, and then you have Tantra and all this and blah. So, but you do need somebody that if you want to attain enlightenment, now it's not important. Now you see what is Buddhism, you study a little bit, you think, oh yeah, that's appealing to me, this one's not. I think they have good methods, you take whatever you want. But then if you really want to go to full enlightenment, I think you need somebody. And also what I find with me, my teacher is not alive anymore, unfortunately. So, but still, these years I had him, I mean, he was a living example of what he was teaching. So it's very inspiring. And he appears as an ordinary human being who had to come out of Tibet, who was like living in a cave, eating moldy food, and who had nothing, and who was always happy, and always, not just the happiness, but this being very serene and very, like, it's difficult to explain. Huh? Oh, that definitely, but going beyond that, they're bouncing with joy all the time. He's very joyful all the time. And because I saw him so often and so much, I don't think he was putting on an act, just when people are there. Yeah, so this is what inspired me. I want to become like him, having had such a difficult life. And he died of liver cancer. He had no medication. And whenever we couldn't go and see him very often. But when I went to see him, I went to see him once, I think. And other people who went to see him also said he always made sure that he reassured us, look, don't worry, I'm okay. And he was okay. He died totally peacefully and, just no fear, no worry. When he went to hospital because they thought he had an upset stomach, and they found out he's got liver cancer and is too far gone. And he said, it's okay, I'm ready to die. I'm prepared. I trained my whole life for this, so why wouldn't I be ready to die? So if I can die like this when I find out, react like this when I find out of liver cancer, well, then it was worthwhile to practice these things. So anyway, so that's, is the correct devotion to him is the root of the path. And devotion to the guru means you ask for advice, they give you the advice, you follow it. This is the devotion, that you trust that even though it's difficult and you don't feel like doing it, you still do it. The guru is stretching your borders. He kicks you out of the comfort zone. That's what the guru is for. And also there's so many things to practice. So you need somebody that you trust and that knows you. Maybe not, that you really trust, that you can ask, which direction should I go? Even though sometimes, like my guru, he never told me which way I should go. He only said, well, which way do you want to go? So I had to say what I wanted to do. And then he would say whether it was okay or not. But he didn't make any decisions for me at all. Yeah. And then sometimes he said, oh. And the way he said it, it was never clear. Does he mean yes or no? It's only afterwards when I did it that I saw, oh, that's what he meant. Yeah. So this is where the trust comes from also. So, and also what a guru is, and this is why I put all this in. You have like in the front of the book, where is it? Page 22, but we won't go through it because otherwise it's not. In German we would say, das würde den Rahmen sprengen. I don't know how you say this in English. It would be too much. So you see the 10 qualities of a Mahayana guru. You also see the qualities of a disciple. Yeah, so it's not, sometimes I heard Geshe Sonam Rinchen at the library. He was one of the teachers there. So somebody said, when we went through these qualities of the guru, somebody said, it's so difficult to find good gurus these days. Geshe-la said, yes, and I tell you what, it's also difficult to find good disciples these days. Because, Buddhism has become sometimes a little bit of a hobby, people do it, it's good, there's some benefit, but really, really practicing the 4 seals or cutting through these 4 misconceptions, still, especially in Switzerland, the weather is nice, I think I'd rather go skiing than go to the, Or, or you have a lot of work, so you say, I can't go and listen. I have to rest, It's like saying, I'm not going to the chemotherapy, I'd rather go skiing. We would never do that. We would never give ourselves the choice, but we don't see the urgence of practicing. This is why. We have no renunciation. We're living in our place and we think, wow, this is great, this is heaven, and we have not enough drive to get out of it because one, we don't trust. 2, we think, it's quite nice. We're like a prisoner, in a prison, and he says, well, I get fed. I don't have to work so hard. I don't get beaten up. There's no wish to get out because not understanding, but there is no freedom in that prison. We don't have freedom. We are under the control of our crazy mind. But we got used to the prison, so it's quite nice. See, if you would be locked in a toilet and you couldn't get out because you know what it is not to be in the toilet, you would do everything to get out of there. You wouldn't look around and say, what can I do to make this toilet more beautiful? You wouldn't do that. But that's what we do. So we have no renunciation. Renunciation means, no, I'm not allowed to do this, I'm not allowed to have pleasure, no ice cream, no gelato, no this, no that. No. Renunciation is, I want to get out of here. This is not satisfying, even though it's Switzerland. What do I do to get out of here? Well, I go to quite a lot of other countries, and the paradise, the so-called paradise we're living in, is amazing. It is really amazing. I mean, we should wake up every morning, especially if you have a red passport, a white cross on it, to say, wow, how wonderful it is to live it, to be citizen of such a country. It's so amazing compared to other countries. The way that Switzerland is looking after us. And I've done nothing to make Switzerland the way it is. Yeah, these Swiss people say, all these foreigners are coming, this is our country. Well, what have we done? I haven't done anything. But I'm grateful that I was born here. And the only difference between me and the refugee is a piece of paper. Or being born here or there. It's crazy. That's the only difference. And people are so proud of it. Don't be proud of it. Be grateful for the ones who are Swiss or European or whatever. But still, it's not the non plus ultra. It's better, which is Nirvana. It's better than Switzerland, I tell you. Okay, so you can look at like the qualities of the disciple, and now the next question is like, I want to get out of here. Then is, what do I need in order to get out? Okay, so here first it starts with the guru. Now, if you start on your path, you don't need a guru. But if I wouldn't have had a guru, I wouldn't be sitting here and teaching. That's one thing, because it's your guru that you ask. People ask me to teach, what do you think? I said, I don't want to go. He said, yes, it's okay, you can go. So otherwise I would not be sitting here. All the people who write books, or all the people on YouTube, people who give you valid Buddhist teachings, they all have gurus. And they all say, everything I know is thanks to that guru. It's nothing from my side. Yeah. So if a teacher never ever mentioned his or her guru, there's something, I don't know, check. Somehow. So it's always, the people who teach, even the Dalai Lama, he talks about his gurus. Yeah, so like that. So that's why the guru is important. Then, so then you have to check, okay, what else do I need? And then we come to the next page, which is, I lost the page here. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly, day and night, takes its essence. Okay, meaning, do I have what I need? Means, yes, I have what is called the precious human rebirth. And what a precious human rebirth is page 23. Now there, of course, you can add or you can take away. It's fine. We don't have to take it so, it's that and nothing else. But if you have these freedoms, and if you have these endowments, or richnesses sometimes it's called, that means your rebirth is incredibly precious if you use it to make progress on this path. If you use it to cheat people and to create more negative karma, it's not precious. So you're not born with a precious human rebirth. Sometimes you have to do things to create it also. Yeah. Some things we're born into. But also a precious human rebirth can end just like that, even though you're still alive, when you lose faith. I say, all this is rubbish, which happens a lot. Yeah. If the people who, I think just Lhagsam, how many years do you already exist? 3, yeah? 3 years. If all the people that have been coming to look what this is all about would come one evening, you would need a big hall, isn't it? Or what do you think that is? Yeah. You would need a very big hall just in those 3 years. People have already traveled in just 3 years in a small group like this. Yeah, so many people are interested, but then, they lose interest or don't have time, have children when they're young. All of a sudden they get married and have small kids. No more time. So these 8 freedoms are being free from being born a hell being, a hungry ghost, an animal. These are negative, like painful, a long living God. Again, we're not going to go into that so much. But if you see an animal, sometimes people think, would it be nice to be a cat or a dolphin or whatever? Then study the life of a cat. And then just look, even, you're a spoiled cat, you still have to wait until they give you the food. You are a human being. You can go to the fridge. You can read. You can develop your mind. You can do positive things. The cat's not really. All they can do, I have a cat that I feed from time to time because the owner goes. So he jumps on the cabinet and then he throws down the bag with the food. That's all he can do. He can't open the bag. Or when he's thirsty, he lies in the sink. Then he looks at the tap. That's all he can do. He still has to wait for me to open the tap. What if nobody's there to open the tap? So it's not that an animal rebirth is not good, okay? If your mind as a human being is very negative, meaning very self-concerned, and you use all your intelligence in making wars and destroying people or exploiting them, whatever, better be an animal. You create less negative karma. But if you want to go on this path, human mind is perfect. And then again, it's difficult to believe in hell and hungry ghosts and all this. Then just put it into this world. It's fine. Syria for me is hell at the moment. These places where you can't trust anybody. You don't know when the next bomb is exploding. It explodes. Nobody there to help you. No electricity in the hospital. No more medicine. And you're there with your arm torn off and, nobody to... That's hell. Or the fear that it comes and all the paranoia, fear, and aggression. That is hell. Hungry ghost, you go to I don't know how it is here at the train station, the drug addicts. Only looking for the next fix, the next fix, the next fix, and never getting enough. That's hungry ghost. Animals, beings who are only when they have enough food, when it's not too hot, not too cold, and they have enough sex when they need it, happy. That's animal. So we have a few so-called happy animals like the ones that you have at home. Maybe Julian could give a talk about, because you studied it, about factories, about animal factories, how animals get employed. There's a movie called Earthlings. 5 ways we exploit animals. If anybody comes out of there without tears, then that person has no heart, or I don't know. I mean, just thinking about when we watched it in the group in Bern. I mean, everybody was in tears. 5 ways we exploit animals: food, entertainment, what was it? Clothes and science. Wow. If you want to become vegetarian and you have problems, then watch it, because also you see all the sick animals, the pigs who have these cancers and all this and stuff. If you'd like to become a vegetarian, you think, then Earthlings, but it is really hard. So we could be reborn as one of those animals. Okay, so it's through karma. So again, it isn't, they deserve it. No, but if you think, how would my life be if I would be reborn as one of those animals? Also, when you look at the meat in the counter, it's nicely packed and all these things. Put the other parts of the steak or whatever is, put it there and see it moving and wagging its tail and looking at you. Yeah, I'm thinking this was my mother. This is very drastic, but it really works. And I really like this thing by Mathieu Ricard. Be kind to animals. Don't eat them. It's so nice. Yeah, I'm trying to turn you into vegetarians. It's better for your health. It's better for your health anyway. But don't forget, you could be reborn as one of those animals that we're eating. So then, long-living God. This is Switzerland. Like, life is too good. Why should I bother? I'm fine. Why should I? Yeah. So that. Then wrong views. Wrong views would be not believing that your nature is pure, not believing that life continues after death, not believing that there is enlightenment. So then you're not looking for it. So those are wrong views. Then without spiritual teachings, we don't get anywhere without spiritual teachings. We need somebody to teach us. If we would know it by nature, then we would all be enlightened. We need these methods. We need to be taught. I have to go. We need to be taught these methods. And in a barbaric place, that's where it would be forbidden to be a Buddhist or to do these practices. Tibet is one of those. I wouldn't have the courage to practice in Tibet. I'd be too scared, too chicken. So I'm grateful that I'm here. This is why I said I'm grateful to be Swiss. Or with limited mental capacities, like blind and not hearing or not understanding. Okay, the 10 richnesses: being human, being born in a central land, having all sense organs intact, not having committed big crimes. This is important. Having faith in the teachings and in your own ability. An enlightened being has appeared. We have Shakyamuni Buddha, has taught the path to enlightenment. We have plenty of texts. Teachings remain in undegenerated state. Whoa, this is a bit going. But still, we have living examples. This is what I said. The teachings are still practiced, and people in general are kind-hearted. Like when people at home, they ask you, why are you doing this? And you say, because I want to really develop a good heart. People understand. They think it's a good thing. They don't say, oh, you're stupid. Some do. Yeah, you're naive. Okay. So I'm sorry I have to go because I got a cheaper ticket, so I need to take that train. But I would like to dedicate all the positive energy that we have created together so that everybody can find whatever religion it is, whatever name they give it, may they find a path where they really find out why we are suffering, methods how to deal in a healthy way with the negative states of mind, not to suppress them, not to live them out, but to recognize them as empty of inherent existence, as a dependent arising, apply the antidotes, and then attain peerless, full awakening, and then lead everybody to that state. Thank you very much. Okay, so maybe homework, I said a few things.